generated $11 billion in revenue. 2008, it was $4 billion. 2009 was a rough year for the U.S. printed circuit board industry. And sales were down at least 25% last year. So it went from $4 billion to at least only $3 billion. In 2008, the U.S. printed circuit board industry, if I'm running out of time, let me know. I'll stop anyways. But in 2008, the U.S. printed circuit board industry accounted for 8% of global production, down from 26% of global production in 2000. Now, China's industry. So ours is about $4 billion in 2008. China's industry in 2008 was $16 billion. That's 4 times the size of our industry. They control 31% of global production. Solar. We have one company in the top 10 globally, First Solar. U.S. production accounts for 5% of global production. First Solar is not even, when you look at the European Commission, which does this report on this global solar industry, Applied Solar is, there's a bracket that says international and bracket, but they're a U.S. company. They put them as international because all their production is basically in Malaysia and China. So here I was as editor of the Energy Daily, covering NREL, National Renewable Energy Lab, covering all this investment that was made in solar this, I remember in 1985, covering the PV USA program, and it was PV utility scale applications. Solar was going to be huge, but we control 5% of the solar industry. Now I'm just going to read, and then just quickly read through this list. Space launch, 17% of global launches are from U.S. companies. Flat panel displays, 0. Shoes, clothing, textiles, high-performance outerwear, sporting goods, luggage, small appliances, air conditioners, nuclear equipment, bicycles, furniture, robotics, laptops. The Dreamliner is 80% made overseas. Chemical plants, there were 68 chemical plants on the drawing boards 2 years ago, globally, worth $1 billion or more. 68, not one was in the United States. Semiconductor fabs, there were 28 fabs under construction in China 2 years ago, 2 in the United States. Batteries, foundries, mold makers, tool and die shops, steel. China produced 500 million tons of steel in 2008. U.S. produced 91.5 million. Autos. Last year, autos, important story. I don't know if everybody's seen this. China produced, or their Chinese market last year for autos grew by 50% in a year. 13.6 million autos purchased in China last year. United States, 10.4. We have our work cut out for us. Brian O'Shaughnessy, who's the CEO of Revere Copper, it's the oldest industrial company in the United States, created by Paul Revere. He says, Paul Revere were alive today, he'd be racing through the streets yelling, the Chinese are coming, the Chinese are coming, and do you think Americans would just ignore that call? Thank you very much. And I'll take questions. Do I have time for questions or not? Thank you, and I'll take questions. If anybody has, yes. Do I see this turning around? I see. I hope so. I don't know. I think so. It's so low now. I mean, a few years ago, it was like, how could we get any lower? And then we had the market collapse, and it got a lot worse last year. I don't know how it could get much worse, but you know, I look at like the National Association of Manufacturers. And I look at their press releases for the last 8 years, and it's like, oh no, we're going to see it growing again. We're going to see manufacturing take up again. And you know, so I see that now. It's kind of like it's hit bottom. It's hit bottom, and it's like, okay, well, when they're saying it's hit bottom, then I kind of feel like it hasn't. But I don't know. If we have a government now who's awake and alert, which I'm not sure. I mean, been going to the State of the Union address, and the press sits and looks out, you know, at the members of Congress, and I look out at the members of Congress and I go, why is America sending these people here? Don Manzullo, who represents Rockford, Illinois, heavy manufacturing in this industrial area, told me one time when he was chairman of the Small Business Committee that there are only about 45 members of the House of Representatives who represent industrial areas. And most of them represent like suburban areas or rural areas where there are few plants or city, urban areas. And so you can't get any traction on any of these issues. And so, but I do think as all of what they're trying to do kind of they realize this ain't working, and these theories of free trade and these neoclassical economists are going to be disproven. I think that the great thing about America is that we do have the capability. I mean, we do. We have incredible resources, and we have incredible people, and I don't want to sound like a politician either when I say that, but we do have a diversity of people in this country. We have a lot of smart people from everywhere in the world. And we've been, Greg Tassi in this says, you know, we were number one for so long that we got complacent. And I think, you know, maybe we've just gotten complacent. And so we have to reinvent ourselves, and we always have. And we've always faced tough times. My dad grew up in the Depression. I asked him, he was born 29, I asked him, when did you feel comfortable buying stuff? And he said, 1956 or thereabouts. You know, and that's just because he was poor. His dad owned the asbestos construction company, and every night he was a foreman, and every night my dad would answer the phone, asbestos! My dad's sick in bed again. His lungs are terrible. But his dad forced his three sons, his Irish Catholic sons in Brooklyn, to go to Stevens Institute of Technology to become engineers. None of them, all the three brothers, hated Stevens. They hated it with a passion. They didn't want to be engineers. His dad forced them to be engineers. You got to have a job. And, you know, maybe that's what it comes down to again. It's like, we've gone through tough times, and we're going to have to go through another tough time. And that's how, I've always said that when we take family vacations, when things are going bad, they're going well. Because when things are kind of like the car's breaking down, you have a whole life to laugh about those times. And when the vacation is perfect, it's like you never talk about it. But then for the rest of your life, you're laughing about that crazy event on your vacation. So I think when we're being challenged, people are acknowledging that we're being challenged, and they're going to have to respond in some way, similar to what they did with the financial bailout. Yes. And how much time do we have, John?
I think you have until 9, is it Betty Jo?
And
also, you make an announcement. Don't forget there are books available for nothing that are supplied at the table as you leave.
Yeah, books. Please pick up this book. Please pick it up. Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on the motion of action that would drastically touch corporate income tax rates for American companies?
I think it should be done, and people talking about it for years, and they said we have to pay the highest corporate tax rates. We need to completely throw our stupid tax system away. It's stupid. It doesn't work. It doesn't compete globally. We're not competitive globally. We set it up for America when America was a fortress. It doesn't work. That's just a basic, stupid. 35% corporate tax is the highest in the world other than Japan. Everyone says it. They talk about it. Come on, again. This is stupid. The people who are hurt most by it are workers and consumers who have to pay it. Sir?
Well, Kim is by trade, not an economist. I'm going to say something probably very simple. That's the word tariff.
Yeah.
And they said we can't do tariffs because it will set up a trade war. What would a trade war look like in a modern global economy? Does anybody know?
We're in a trade war and we lost. We're in a trade war. Everybody's targeted us. In the issue here, I put some issues on the table. Outsourcing firms target more American industries. We are under attack. And they are targeting industries that we thought, oh, well, you know, it's the shoe industry, or it's the widget industry. No, this is the legal services industry. This is your law firm who's going to outsource all their back office stuff to companies in China. Thank you. Guess what? Do we have a response to that? It's like a duh. No. The tariff is, it kept this country, it created this country, it made it a powerhouse, superpower. We didn't have income taxes because for centuries, for a century and a half, we didn't have, or longer, we didn't have an income tax because we collected tariffs. That's how we funded our government. You know, we need to completely look at all these issues. Tariffs as one.